Today, we are going to watch an amazing movie released in 2009 called Dark Planet. It is basically a science fiction survival movie. Well, imagine that there is another world located billions of kilometers away from our world where people like us have been living for thousands of years. But that world is not an ordinary world like ours. Rather, the soil, water, air, everything on this world was completely different from the world. But what if an ordinary person gets trapped in this strange world and there is no other way to survive from that world? In this movie, we will see whether people can survive in that strange world by facing such a terrible situation. Let's take a look at the story of a strange world outside the world. The story starts from the story of a strange world outside the world. In the future world, when the world has become much more modern, the time was in 2157. At that time, the world had another name, which was Perfect Land, because there was no problem in the world now. Science was so advanced that people have now discovered various new theories and have developed treatments for almost every patient. So now no one in the world had any disease or illness. Even now, the world's politics and economy have become completely normal. There is no difference in the world about anything. Every person in the world now gets their rights equally. Even now, there was no difference between the rich and the poor. The world's education system was also much more advanced. In this modern world, traveling in a spaceship is very normal, because now any person can travel in a spaceship anytime they want. Now we see a special spaceship called Ian, where there is a boy named Max. Max was doing research with some things there, but he actually ran away from his family and was traveling in a spaceship because Max did not want to go to college. He was actually very interested in different research, so he liked to experiment with different things. That's why motivational tone. Tag takes him with him to a place that was a huge city. Max sees that the entire city is occupied by soldiers and even controls everything here. The soldiers look around very well, and seeing the situation of the people here, he understands that the people here may be living their lives as slaves. This is very bad for Max, because in such a modern era, people are still slaves. Now Max is brought into a chamber in that city, and he is placed on a chair, and various devices are attached to his body and head. The device that is attached to his head is basically a brain control device through which they can know everything about Max's brain. Max cannot tell them any kind of lie here. They actually wanted to know the right information about Max, where Max actually came from, and he is not their enemy, so they were looking at all the memories of Max from the beginning to the end, but they do not find anything significant to suspect Max. So they all decide here that they will kill Max. He will be sent to another city, and a soldier named Guy will take him there. Although this task was supposed to be done by Jess, Jess fainted for some reason, which is why Guy will take him now. Now Max hears some noises from outside, because the soldiers here were singing their national anthem. In fact, every person here was very patriotic. Now Guy takes Max to their car. He was taking him to that specific city. On the way, Max sees different situations here, where almost different parts of the city have been destroyed. Now they are passing by a huge tower. Max then asks Guy about the tower. Guy then tells him that it is actually a protection tower of the city. Through this tower, the soldiers mainly suppress the enemy, and they protect their city. When Guy was telling Max all this, a huge explosion occurred in that tower. As a result, the tower immediately started to collapse, and in a while, this huge tower fell on Max's car. As a result, the car broke down and many soldiers in it died. When an iron inside the even though he behaved badly, he behaved very well, and he brought me to this city. Radha then told him, "Well, since you are a good friend of my brother, you can go to our house with me if you want, because now you have no place to take shelter. So you can take shelter in our house for a few days and try to fix your spaceship. I hope you can reach your planet very soon." Max was very happy to hear this. Then he went straight to their house with Rada. This time, that night, when Guy returned home, he was surprised to see Max, because he had handed Max over to Funk this morning. So Guy immediately realized that Max had somehow escaped from them. So he was going to arrest Max again because it was his responsibility. But Rada told his brother that he brought Max here himself. Max then said to Guy, "Hey friend, you don't know me. I saved you by risking my life, and now you are repaying me. Since I saved your life, I helped you, so you have to help me now. I just want to be with you for a few days." Now Guy had no other choice, so he also agreed to Max's words. But he told Max, "If you are trying to date my sister again, then I will let you stay, but stay away from my sister, okay?" Max then laughingly told him, "I can't give any guarantee on this." So the three of them started having fun together. In a very short time, a friendship became established, and within a few days, Maxie got to know about various things in the city. He got to know that the entire planet is called Fatherland, and everyone who runs this city is called Father. Max also got to know about the different rules and regulations of this world, and he got to learn many things here. But the most interesting thing is that Max got to know that the people here don't know anything about the world, and they don't even have any idea about space and spaceships. So Max used to tell Raka about the world every day, that the world is actually how modern and how freely the people of the world live their lives and what kind of rules there are in the world. There are laws that teach a lot about space that Raka can use in the future. In this way, Rada slowly starts to like Max. All the subjects are taught, so seeing Max's such good skills, everyone on the team is very impressed with him, and he is selected for the team within just one day. Now almost several days had passed, where it is seen that Ga now likes Max a lot. He thinks of Max as his brother. When they are together at home, they only quarrel and fight all the time. On the other hand, Mike and Radar's love for each other deepens, so they both tell each other how much they love each other. Mike actually loved Ra so much that he did not want to return to the world leaving Ra. He seemed to like this new life of his. He actually has adopted Guy and Radar very much. Now, after a few days, Max receives a letter through which he is called for an important mission. Max then immediately gets ready and goes to his team, and today their mission was in the city of Revenge, that is, the city of their enemies. So Max then goes there with his entire team. Then it is seen that Max's team has entered that city. As soon as they did not look at anyone, big or small. They killed anyone they came across. In this way, they kept killing the people of the entire city, and even treated people very badly on the streets. Seeing all this, one thing became clear to Max, that is, the enemy that the soldiers were talking about in the name of revenge were actually the ordinary people of this planet. They were not an enemy. They were even the poor people of this planet who did not have any kind of power or authority. They did not even have any tools. They were some people who were afraid of the soldiers and did not even get their rights properly. After a few days, these soldiers carried out such murders on them that the rest were afraid and obeyed everything they said, and were even confined to the rules they had made. Realizing all this, Max could not fire a single shot here. He became completely silent, and even his gun fell from his hand after seeing the brutal torture of the soldiers.
And several people were sentenced to death because they spoke out against the leaders here. They encouraged everyone for their rights, and many were tortured in various ways with electric shocks, which Max was watching from the front. But Max couldn't seem to understand all this. He felt very bad for the people of the Revenge. Max decided in his heart that he would save the Revenge people from those oppressors at any cost. So when their duty ended like today, Max calmly tried to convince Guy that it was really wrong that they were torturing ordinary people. If the same thing had been done to him and his family, how would he feel then? Would he ever want his own people to die like this? But Guy didn't want to hear anything from him. He was actually completely blind to their government and party, so he believed whatever his party told them. So Guy told Max that he was betraying their team, not taking their side. If the leaders find out, Max will suffer a lot, so Guy warns Max not to do such a thing. That night, it turns out that their team commander has called Guy and Max. After they go there, the commander tells them that their entire team suspects Max. Even the government suspects that Max is a good soldier, but he might be a revenge, because he didn't kill a single revenge in the last mission. So he has to test his loyalty to the government. He has to prove that he really came to work for their team. Max agrees to the test. The next day, the commander takes Max to a forest where 2 revenge members are being executed. When Max reaches that place, the commander tells Max that he has to kill them both himself. If he can do that, it will prove that Max is not a revenge member, but that Max is theirs. He can't kill them in any way, but even then he was acting like he really would kill them. And he pretended to kill them and took the 2 revenges a little far away and left them there and told them to run away.
But Max's survival after being shot so many times surprised them all, because the people on this planet usually die with 1 shot. But Max then told them all about the world, that how advanced the world is and how modern the people there live their lives. They even have a DNA in their bodies that makes their bodies more resistant to diseases, so no matter how deep the wound is on their bodies, it heals very quickly. Max also told the Revengers about him. He also told them a secret, that there is only one way to kill him, which is to shoot him in the head. Only if he is shot in the head will he die. The Revengers were completely surprised to hear this. The Revengers then told Max that the Fathers here do not have such power. They have only increased their own power and military strength, due to which the Revengers can never fight against them. Now they also told Max that the huge towers around their city were built by the Fathers themselves, and those towers were not to suppress any enemies, but the tower has a large amount of radiation gas stored, and the Fathers basically use this radiation gas to control the minds of the people of the city, as a result of which every person is under their control, and the Fathers' decisions seem right to them. Hearing these words, Max realizes how bad the government of the fatherland really is and how low they can go to achieve their own interests. So Max joins the revenge team here and gives all the revenge people their due. Now the revenge makes a plan with Max here that how they will fight hand to hand. Now that night they go to a tower as planned and somehow ignore the security guards there and go straight inside that tower, because their first mission is to destroy the towers of the city one by one. However, the Revenge came fully prepared, so before the guards attacked them here, one of them was named Jess and the other was named Revel. Here, Revel had a robotic hand. On the other hand, we see the leader named Strider. Strider is actually the in charge of the city's education sector who was talking to David. He tells David to let Max go because he wants to research Max himself. In fact, he has somewhat understood that Max has a special power that is not found in any of the people here. So Strider wants to research him and see what he actually has. That is why Strider makes a deal with David here, through which David will hand over Max to him. However, that night, when David checks Max's profile, he learns some strange information about Max. Max has a power in his body that makes him impossible to kill. Even any wound on his body heals very quickly. Also, radiation has no effect on him. Knowing this, David becomes greedy, so he decides he will take all the power of Max's body into himself. So David tells his men to bring Max to him from the prison, and he even tells them that they should not let anyone in the city know about this, so that everyone will think that Max has escaped himself. Now David plans to send the 2 prisoners in the prison, including Max, into a forest. He tells them that they had a mission in that forest, as a result of which they have many weapons lying there, so the three of them should recover those weapons. Now, when the three of them went into the forest, they saw that hundreds of robots are coming towards them. So Max tells his companions to fall to the ground. Immediately, it is seen that those robots have started firing upwards, but since they are on the ground, nothing happens to them. But the robots were firing here effortlessly. But Maxie is not afraid at all, but he continues to lead his companions according to his skills. Max tells his companions to wait until he gives them a signal, and says that as soon as they gave the signal, they started firing at Jeff and Ravel thanked Max a lot, because Max was the reason they were able to make their team so powerful. Hearing their words, Max realized that Max's work was done. The Revenants were now ready to fight for their rights. So Max told them that he wanted to leave the fatherland. Now Max said goodbye to them and sat in the red tank and took the tank straight to the south of the fatherland. On the way, he destroyed many mines on the road so that his companions could escape from these mines. Since this red tank was very powerful, nothing happened to him here. Now, in a short time, Max reached a checkpoint in the city, where some soldiers were watching the exit point of the city. Now a soldier came to check Max's tank, and this soldier was none other than Guy. When he opened the lid of the tank and went to check the tank, Max immediately pulled him inside, and the tank starts. Although,